We are living in an inflammation nation, a reality shaped not only by stress, pollution, and sedentary lifestyles, but most insidiously by what we eat every day. At the heart of this growing public health crisis lies a powerful, yet often invisible force: chronic, low-grade inflammation driven by highly processed foods. Unlike the acute inflammation that helps the body heal from injuries or infections, this persistent, body-wide inflammation is silent and damaging, laying the groundwork for a wide spectrum of modern diseases, including cancer, type 2 diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. The problem begins with the ultra-processed ingredients that dominate modern diets: nitrites in cured meats, added sugars in soft drinks and packaged snacks, and industrial trans fats once common in baked goods and fried foods. These are not harmless additives. They are chemical signals that trigger the immune system into a state of constant alert. Over time, this ongoing immune response begins to damage tissues, disrupt hormone signaling, and impair critical repair mechanisms across the body. Take nitrites, for example. Commonly used to preserve color and extend the shelf life of processed meats, these compounds can form nitrosamines in the body, particularly when exposed to the high heat of cooking. Nitrosamines are not just mildly irritating. They are well-established carcinogens that provoke inflammation in the gut lining and create oxidative stress, a key mechanism by which cells are damaged and mutated. Chronic exposure to these compounds doesn't just raise cancer risk. It also weakens the body's ability to maintain a healthy immune response. Sugars, especially when consumed in liquid form or in excessive quantities, act like fuel on this inflammatory fire. A diet high in added sugars leads to elevated blood glucose, insulin surges, and a cascade of pro-inflammatory markers. This not only increases the risk of insulin resistance and diabetes, but also damages blood vessels, disrupts the gut microbiome, and contributes to fatty liver disease. Studies consistently show that people with diets high in added sugars have higher levels of C-reactive protein, a key marker of inflammation and an early indicator of heart disease risk. And then there are trans fats, arguably among the most inflammatory substances ever added to the food supply. Though banned in many countries, they still lurk in certain baked goods, margarine substitutes, and processed oils in parts of the world with weaker food regulations. Trans fats not only distort cholesterol profiles by raising LDL and lowering HDL, they also directly trigger inflammatory pathways in endothelial cells, which line blood vessels. This inflammation impairs circulation, encourages plaque formation, and increases the likelihood of blood clots, making heart attacks and strokes more likely even in people who may not appear at immediate risk. What makes all of this more concerning is how easy it is for these substances to become dietary staples. Processed foods are cheap, convenient, addictive, and aggressively marketed, especially to children, low-income families, and communities with limited access to fresh, whole foods. Over time, a diet dominated by these ingredients doesn't just increase body weight or blood sugar levels. It fundamentally reshapes the immune system, trains it to overreact, and strips the body of its ability to repair itself. Chronic inflammation doesn't present with flashing warning signs. It simmers quietly for years, creating damage at the cellular level that may only manifest later as cancer, heart disease, or neurodegeneration. And by then, the damage may be extensive. That's why addressing inflammation through diet isn't just a wellness trend, it's a medical necessity. On the positive side, food can also be medicine. Whole, unprocessed foods, like fruits, vegetables, nuts, oily fish, and legumes, contain anti-inflammatory compounds such as polyphenol, omega-3s, and fiber. These substances help regulate immune responses, repair oxidative damage, and restore balance to the gut microbiome. Simply reducing processed food intake and replacing it with real, nutrient-dense ingredients can rapidly lower inflammation markers, sometimes within just a few weeks. The solution isn't complicated, but it requires awareness. The modern food system thrives on convenience and profit, not health. The burden is unfairly placed on individuals to navigate this toxic environment. But knowledge is power. Understanding how processed foods promote systemic inflammation gives people a reason to push back, to question what's on their plate, and to demand better options from food manufacturers and policymakers alike. Inflammation may be the invisible enemy, but it is not invincible. By removing its dietary fuel, we can start to reverse the tide of chronic illness, one meal at a time.